Here we go. What's up, Homestead homies? It's Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. I'm Doug.
And I'm Stacy.
And today we're going to talk about that blooming onion.
How many people have had one of those things? What is that place?
Don't eat that stuff. It's going to kill you. All right, so basically we're going to do an onion video today. We're going to give you guys some tips, tricks, and a couple of fun facts about onions. As we're harvesting out of our garden, chances are you'll be harvesting out of yours.
That's right. Yeah, and we just love onions. We eat onions every single day. I try to get, onions is something that has sulfur in it. It's a sulfur-rich food, and we try to get as much as we can every day. And if you don't know, sulfur is something that you need. It sort of like helps to synthesize something called glutathione, and glutathione is the master antioxidant. It's like the Big Mac Daddy, and we produce it naturally, but unfortunately in this day and time, you know, with the toxins in the air and chemicals and all that kind of stuff, we're not able to, with our livers clogged up and all that, to
well, you know, people aren't eating these foods as much as they should. They're eating processed foods, things in a bag, things in a box, right? Right,
so you need as much as you can to help with the glutathione production. And onions, garlic, from that family, same family, are really, really crucial. So I try to make sure, and I try to eat them raw. You know, I put them on my salad every day, and then I do cook with them too, but I make sure I get them every single day. And onions are a total staple here at our homestead.
So one of the things that we mentioned that a lot of people were very curious about and didn't have an idea about is eating the flowers on your blooming onion.
That's right. Oh, we love them.
So these taste really, really good, and we're going to give you a couple little thingamajigs about this onion flower.
No, I'm kidding.
About this onion flower.
They're really good.
And so when they flower and they form this flower, it actually, there's a couple of things going on. One is, we're going to talk about this in a second, about how onion sets could cause flowering onions. But what we're going to talk about first is the flowers. They'll open up and then they'll close, and once they close, they'll start to actually form the seed inside of here, and that's what you can use to start next year's harvest, or you could sprout them.
Yeah, so I've never done that, and I'm going to do it. It'll be so simple because I go through so much sprouts, and we've done a lot of videos on sprouting. We'll link that above.
Yeah, we'll link it right here, because sprouting actually gives you like 100 times more nutrition.
And it depends on the sprout, anywhere from like 10 to 100 or so.
Right.
But here with the sprouts, once they dry out, I'm going to just go ahead and save them, and I'll use them to sprout. That's a great, 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 great thing to do. So yeah. I'm going to do that this year.
And you'll also use those. You'll also use those seeds for next year's plantings. So also, when you get your flowers on your blooming onion, what'll happen is all the energy is being pushed up this stalk right here to your blooming onion. So there's two schools of thought. If you're not going to use the seeds and you don't really care for the flowers, as soon as you see this happening, you'll want to go ahead and pull the onion and use it, because it stunts the growth of the onion. It cuts down a little bit on the flavor, but the main thing, like for us, is that it cuts down on the storage ability. So a normal onion, you know, you can get 6 months to a year out of it after you pull it out and cure it, and we're going to talk about that too by the end of the video. But if you let it go to flower, they'll actually last longer, last less long, last not as long as a regular onion if you leave it go and then you harvest it later on.
I know, but I love the flowers, so I like to keep some to eat, and then a lot of them we're going to keep. We're going to grow them to seed, and then we're going to eat them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the other things about the onion.
So there's 3 ways that you guys can plant your onions, and we did 2 of those 3 ways. And then one of the ways is by doing the actual transplant, like the little bitty plant where you can buy them like in you know, like a handful, or the actual set, which is like the bulb, or you can plant the seed. And I did the one where I had gotten them from the Amish. I got a big handful of them, of the red onions, and then those were the actual transplant. And then I also got the sets and the yellow onions, and I want to show you the difference. My red onions are all in this bed here, and I'm going to show you how wonderful they turned out. And these are the ones that were the actual transplant. Okay, so here goes. I'm going to pull this guy out. Now, the one thing you want to look at, do you see the neck of my onion? When it gets kind of limpy like that, then you know it's ready to go. A lot of times, you know, you look at the tips and they get brown. That's not always an indicator. You want to make sure that the neck is not hard. So if it's pretty stiff there, then you definitely want to let it grow a little bit more. It still has a lot more energy to grow and get bigger. So this one is ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest a few more. And all my onions, I got bigger ones than this. They did pretty good this year. See?
So a lot of this bed too is what we call companion planting. So we put the marigolds and the peppers and the onions and the tomatoes all in together, and the oregano and the marigolds, they help fight back bugs, and then the onions help protect the peppers, and everything is working together in here to keep the bugs at bay.
We have an arsenal.
So like she was saying about the, there's a couple of onions in here, the tips are brown. Well, that is an indicator, the tips being brown, but you also want to look for the neck to go soft. So once the neck goes soft, you know you want to pull them out. There's a lot of onions hidden in here, and we're just kind of going through them right now. Here's one right here. And for the most part, we just use our hands when we're harvesting our onions.
But if not, these cultivators work really good too.
Yeah, and there's several places you can get those. And some of these are a little bit smaller. This one I would say is about baseball size, and then some of them are softball size. Here you go.
Yeah, I got some nicer ones.
Yeah. So we're just gonna kind of pull through here. And did you guys know that the biggest onion that's been harvested was by a British farmer? It was 18 pounds.
Wow.
That's pretty big. That's a blooming onion. Also, if you didn't know this too, that onions have been part of medicinal things for a long time. See, like this one here is a lot smaller onion, but the neck is very soft, so you still want to get those up. So some onions are going to be home runs, and some are going to be a little smaller. That's probably a little bigger, maybe like a racquetball or even a tennis ball size. But like I was saying about the medicinal values, even with those flowers, you can actually dehydrate them before they go to seed, and you can use them as a powder and tinctures. A lot of people use them as a flavor for their meats and stuff like that during the winter time.
There's a good one.
Yeah, that's huge. Look at that thing. So also too, if you didn't know, that they actually used onions during medieval times, and they would use them as a currency, and they would give them as gifts. So if you have someone that you love, give them a gift of an onion.
You know what's so funny about that is I would love to have, you know, if someone gave me a bunch of onions, I would love it.
That's a cherished thing for, you know, back when we lived in our city life, it probably wouldn't have been as cool, but now that we live here and this homesteading thing, those kind of gifts are what really matter. I was listening to Amy Fuel the other day, or today actually, because this is a real day video, and they were talking about how they used to shop at some place called New York something, and I never even really heard of it, but now like Tractor Supply and all those kind of places are their dear treasured places.
Yeah, you can't wait to get a gift card from Orsolin's or Farm and Home. Yeah, for sure.
So we're pulling out the red onions here. Everything's looking good. We do have a little bit of time. Now what you'll want to do is you'll pull these out, and then you'll put them in the sun for 2 days or so. Let them dry out good. Cut off the tops and then cut off the roots, and then they'll store basically all the way through winter, as long as it wasn't a flowering onion.
A blooming onion, right?
So obviously we don't take you around and show you us digging out every single onion, because that would be kind of boring for you, and then I'd have to put in music or maybe speed it up. So we just jumped right to it. As you can see, all right, Mr. Rooster, we can see these are pretty big. These are bigger than softball size. These are the red onions. We have a couple of white onions that we took out because we're going to talk about the colors of the onions and the benefits.
And the thing I have to say is I really like the red onions because, you know, I'm all about health here, and they're really high in something called anthocyanins. And anthocyanin-rich foods, fruits and vegetables, are the ones that have like the purple colors, the brown, the blacks, the reds, the oranges, and they're really high in this antioxidant that just does so many great things, like helps with your cognitive function, your brain, with your heart, with help, you know, detoxifying through your liver, even helping prevent cancer. They say that like antioxidant-rich foods have, you know, about double the amount of vitamin C that other ones do. So I try to do like your blueberries,
blackberries,
and all those are high in anthocyanins.
Strawberries.
Yeah, we did the thing on I did the black rice, but anything that has those colors are really high. So I try to get as much as I can. So I planted a lot more of the red ones than I did over the yellow ones, because they are going to have a little bit more of a kick than the yellow onions would.
And that's what we always try to tell you guys is eat the rainbow. You guys might have heard that before, but the more color you can have in your food, when you look at your plate, like you guys saw during that cook we did the other day with the beef and the food and everything, a lot of color on the plate, a lot of sweet potatoes, a lot of greens, a lot of peppers, tomatoes. So just try to eat your food as colorful as possible, and that's just gonna also rub off, you know, for better health.
Oh my gosh, for sure. You want to eat as much, and especially as raw, uncooked foods as you can.
Right.
Definitely.
And now onions, you know, are biennials, which means that it takes 2 years for them. They'll go from seed to bulb in the first year, and in the second year, they go from bulb to seed again and produce the flower and then repropagate, which means, you know, keeping their lifeline alive.
Yeah, that's right.
So cool. So this is just a short video. We're doing a couple fun facts for you guys. And, you know, don't be sending us onions to our P.O. box.
I wouldn't turn them down, though.
Yeah, we wouldn't turn them down. But we've had a nice harvest here. We're just getting started.
We still have more to do, yeah.
Yeah, we still have more to do. But we're just trying to share these videos with you because these are probably relevant for you guys right now. You're probably in your gardens, harvesting your garlic, getting ready to harvest your onions. And then as we're doing it, we're going to take you guys along too. And then the next couple of videos, we're going to do some finch stretching. I'm going to show you how to do that. And then also we're going to be doing the reveal on the garden, summer garden, and talk to you guys a little bit about the Back to Eden stuff and what we have going on here in our garden. So hopefully you're growing in your garden.
Yeah, and then hopefully you're being a good homestead homie because it's almost the end of the month.
Actually, today is the last day of the month, isn't it?
No, one more day.
One more day. You got one more day. So basically, Homestead Homie of the Month is when you share our videos or comment on our videos, just interact with the channel in any kind of way. What we do is take notice of that, and then once a month we pick one special person that receives, you're all special ones, but one person that receives a cast iron skillet. It's a layman's exclusive, and we send that out to you free of charge so you guys can enjoy that. And when that's just our way of saying thanks a lot, and it's Layman's has teamed up with us to do it. So if you haven't checked out their non-electric store, the link's down below. Maybe you can go check that out. So this is Off Grid with Doug and Stacy. I'm Doug.
And I'm Stacy, and here's our little visitor here.
Don't forget to check us out on
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
And we'll see you guys tomorrow.
See you guys.
Hey, are you still here? Good. The ones that stay to the very end sometimes get extra tips. If you want to grow really big onions, here's a couple of tips for you. A, get them in the ground as soon as possible. Whenever you're watching, even if you have sets or seeds or whatever, as soon as possible. Like push that thaw as close as you can, like get them in the ground, because that really helps bring up the big onions. Also, make sure that you're not letting the dirt get all around the onion. You want to pull that dirt away and let it kind of ride on top of the soil, okay? So those are 2 tips for you to grow really good onions at the end of this video. And remember, we found this when we were doing the onions. They're good for your heart.